had so many people in my life, teachers and supervisors and professors who have really seen something in me that I never saw in myself, but it really changed my trajectory and where I was going and what I believed I was capable of by having those people in my life, which is why I'm so passionate about teaching these days, because teachers change lives.
It's fantastic when that can happen. Yeah. And that doesn't always happen for people, but to have that kind of person who believes in you and to really change your life that way, it's really amazing.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. So that brings us to, among other things, your book, The Connected Species. And so can you give us, and congratulations, by the way, on the publishing, can you give us just a brief overview of the thesis of the book?
Yeah, so it's based on a lot of my previous research, but of course the whole thousands of other amazing researchers as well, their work. But it's the idea that we as a species aren't the strongest species around, and we're not the fastest species around, and we don't have the largest brain of all the species. But we've become the alpha species on this planet Earth, and we've taken over every nook and cranny of this Earth due to the fact that we're connected, due to the fact that we actually collaborate with each other. And our driving force and our pure nature is actually to collaborate and to empathize and to be connected, to actually work with each other. And we are the only species on planet Earth that actually connects across groups. So you can think of bees, for example. They have amazing hives and they have amazing communities within that, and they all do their special jobs and everything else. But one beehive will never tell another beehive that there's some cool, flowers over there that we didn't get to pollinate, or would you like some extra honey? And you can give us some honey later on when we need it. We are the only species that does that. We're the only species that actually connects across groups and actually works across groups and collaborates across groups. And so to do that, we had to evolve this amazing, complex, large brain relative to our body size, which allows us to understand, remember who people are, understand who they are, understand our connection to them, and then understand how they're feeling, how they're thinking, understand group dynamics as well. So it's an amazing complex thing that we're able to do. And it is the best thing we can actually do. So actually sitting down with someone face to face and communicating with them, someone you trust, is better for your mental health than anything else you can actually do. It's better than any drug that's on the market. Pharmaceutical companies get all upset by that idea. But there isn't a drug which is actually as good for your mental health as actually sitting down and chatting to someone. So we need to get back to that, and we need to actually realize that we're all part of this huge, big species that has enabled us, and everyone being connected has enabled us to get to where we are. And so we need to do more of that to move to the next level. And I think we can. I think we're just at a bit of a crossroads at the moment.
Yeah, this is fascinating to me. So one of the projects that I've worked on in the past was the school had an online school and they had an in-person school. And we were continuously having trouble getting some of the same results out of the online program. And at one point we started breaking it down and we said, what are we doing in person that we're not able to do online? Is there something in the educational aspects of it? And when we looked at the two of them, it was pretty one for one. Most of the things that you could do in person that you could do online. And someone just said at one point, it just doesn't feel the same. What is that? Like, right? So that's like the bridge you're talking about, right? Where is this gap? Because I've seen it, I've felt it, I've seen it in the data. I'd love to have a name for it.
So yeah, there's a couple of things that happen when we meet on face to face that can't happen when we meet online, and makes it really difficult. So number one thing, and the most important thing for us as humans and as mammals, is the first thing we do when we meet up with someone is we touch them. And so when you actually touch someone, there's seed fibers in our skin which are there just for touch, and they're not there for anything else. So when you touch someone, these seed fibers activate, and that activates an area of our brain which releases oxytocin. And oxytocin makes us more willing to actually connect with the person. It makes us trust that person. And we don't get that when we're online. And of course, in all societies, we have some way of appropriately touching each other when we actually meet. So in stoic societies like ours, we shake hands. And even the Inuits will actually rub noses because it's the only part of their body that's actually showing. And so they'll get those seed fibers active by rubbing each other's nose. And therefore, they'll get that oxytocin release so that they'll actually feel more connected to the person and they'll actually trust them more. So that's the first thing that happens. Second, there's a body language. So when we're online, we only see people from the shoulders up. So you don't actually get the body language. Now we have a whole mirror neuron system, which activates when we're actually seeing somebody, their whole body, and that actually activates the same motor plan in us so that we can then understand how that person's feeling. So if that person's hunched over, our body and our motor plan does the same thing so that we understand, oh, that person's feeling a little bit depressed now. And so we understand and we empathize with the person better because we can actually see how they're actually feeling. Now, of course, that means that those feelings are contagious. We actually have the same feeling as the other person. So if a teacher walks into the room and they're feeling really good and they're getting into the whole classroom and everything else, all the students in the classroom, their motor plans will activate in the same way and they'll actually feel the same. So they'll get that serotonin released as a result of that, which is really important again for them feeling motivated and activating areas of the brain which are involved in learning and connecting with the teacher. So they get the oxytocin, they get serotonin. You also get a whole bunch of endorphins released as well because of the fact that you're in the same room as someone and therefore you feel safer, because we feel safe when we're around people that we actually trust. It goes back millions of years, and that's why we love being in groups and we love being around people we feel safe with. So if you feel safe with your teacher, then you're going to have a whole bunch of really important neurotransmitters released, which is going to make you less stressed and more engaged in whatever it is that the teacher or whoever it happens to be actually wants to tell you about. Also, eye gaze. So eye gaze is a big problem when we're online. So we don't know where the other person's actually looking. An important part of the learning process is the teacher will actually, or somebody, whoever you're talking to, will look at something and you understand that they're actually referring to that when they're actually looking at that. But we can't get that when we're online because I have no idea what you guys are actually looking at. And you have no idea what I'm actually looking at if I look over there. So we don't get any of that information as well, which is all automatic. There's also a whole bunch of problems with where people put their cameras, because often people, I'll pick on you, Brian, people will put their cameras down low. And if the camera's down low, then it actually looks as though you're standing over the person. Mm-hmm. And that's actually an aggressive mood. And so, yeah, so we actually need to make sure our cameras are eye level like Sean's got his or above eye level, because then it looks as though you're actually at the same level of them or you're underneath them. So that's the right eye level. But most people have their short, Brian's now going to move his camera.
Literally reorganizing
moving his camera as he's doing this. Yeah, so if you've got your camera low, then you're actually looking down at the person, and that's an aggressive stance from an evolutionary point of view. So our brains automatically say that's aggressive.